I thought you were going to say, it doesn't matter. You won't get to play him.
It doesn't matter
how you're...
I'm going to do it in stereo. Yeah. Sweet Jiminy Jesus, it's time for the Week 13 Heat Check. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I was talking last week about how it was getting crowded in the studio. Well, it's more crowded still because we've got quite an august gathering of league luminaries seated here out on the back deck of the funhouse on this cold and windy. Fucking, is it December?
Tomorrow.
November 30th.
It's the last day of November.
Okay, right. November evening. Of course, we've got the financier and the person in charge of petty cash. It's Petty LaBelle, Mark Gutierrez. Yeah. As promised, we have Clayton back here this week with a little bit of statistical analysis of his own. And you might think it's for the first time, but it's actually for the second time. We are going to get to the bottom of the mystery that is Brian Howells.
That is I, Brian Howells, manager of the Mystery Man, master of start or benching, devourer of Miller High Life, champion of ping pong at the Great Halls of Sokos. The Funhouse knows me as Howells, the Jed knows me as Wolves, and I have other names. Names that are very treacherous. Once spoken, your gallbladder might jump out of your body.
Wow, what a way to tear the veil off. That was great.
Did
And
you
know
just
what?
heat check yourself?
You
You deserve props for that.
know, it was like, Mark, you were like, let's turn on these heaters. I don't think we need them anymore.
No, we're good.
Yeah, and you know what, Howells? It's a good comment, and this is as good a time as any to say, Rob, we hope you're on the quick road to recovery, and I also hope that you brought the belt into surgery with you.
Get well, Rob.
You know, just before we started recording, Clayton mentioned how this is perhaps the tightest league he's ever seen in terms of the standings. Pretty much only 4 wins separate the best teams in the league and the worst.
Technically, everybody could still win. I mean,
Yeah.
a 4-win team, you got 2 more games. If you win those, there's going to be a whole bunch of people. Could be a whole bunch of people at 6 wins.
It's going to be a logjam, and it's just going to be down to tiebreakers.
And actually, I did want to add in that the Drew and the Lajuan game, whoever loses that game will be in sole possession of the punishment going into the last week. Not to say they're going to get it, because I could still technically get that, but they are playing for something if they don't want that punishment.
Right. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean,
Olajuwon, get Kyler Murray off your fucking roster.
Blowjobs or bulls. Literally, blowjobs or bulls. There we go.
That should be the name of possibly another podcast.
But everybody need a lot of shit to happen, but everybody is still in it.
Exactly what needs to happen for you.
Obviously, I have to win out.
Yeah, you have to win out.
And then I need to beat Rob. And then I need Howells to beat Clayton.
Mm-hmm.
I need Lorenzo to beat Dion.
Mm-hmm.
D and Swifty don't matter. I need Nick to beat Westy. And you and Buka don't matter.
Okay. So that's week 13.
Because you'll still be above.
Right.
And then week 14, as long as I'm still winning, I'll need Mystery Men to beat Jimmy G unit, so I do need you to win out. And then 8, 4, and 8, that one shouldn't matter. Delajuan to beat West.
That's the tough one.
That's the tough one. And then FX and Nick don't matter. And then I need Fun World Lord. I need you to beat Clayton.
Okay.
And that will leave a shitload of 6 and 6s.
and as long as they perform badly in their losses and you perform great in your wins,
Yep.
that's crazy. There is a chance.
There is.
So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah!
Howells, we haven't had you actually speaking your mind on here before.
Not at all. I was completely silent the last time I was on. Just took notes.
Yeah, and it was very helpful. But what are your how are you feeling about your chances in the home stretch here?
I'm gonna win the last 2 regular season games and pretty much get the bye, and everyone's gonna have to try to take me down.
All right. 3 teams tied with the worst record as far as the punishment watch goes. You, Drew, and Delajuan. But you've got some pretty decent tiebreakers there. So does Drew. Delajuan's really going to have to he's going to have to squeak out some wins if he's going to be able to like get his head above water. And sadly, it looks like we're none of us going to Spain. I'm starting to give up the dream here, but. You know what? I'm going to hold on to it with my fingernails until the end of week 13. We'll see how it goes. I think, let's get to the centerpiece of this episode, which, Clayton, as promised, you did some research.
Yes, I did. I have all of our draft picks here from 6 and on.
So talk to us about keepers.
I will. Basically, real quick for the whole league, because I've never dealt with keepers before. I pretty much understand. I just want to be sure everybody knows going into the offseason what the keepers entail. So what happened was the keeper had to be drafted after the 5th round. So starting in the 6th round at the 61st pick, anybody you drafted and kept, never dropped, you're eligible to keep next season. So what I did is I went through, I found out who you drafted after 6, and I went back and made sure you kept them all year, and I listed those for you so you have a good idea of that. As far as that goes, is there anything else involved with the keeper? You don't have to keep the keeper, correct?
No, in fact, I think possibly one.
You don't get a third. How many rounds did we go?
15.
15. So then you don't get a 15.
So your last pick is forfeit.
So your last pick, you forfeit for
and
the
if you don't have the keeper, then you get a 15 round.
Okay.
Pick.
So it's basically just straight value, at least for this year.
Okay. And lastly, I did want to add in, I think Mark and I, talking through this, actually found an added benefit. If you are the last pick in our draft next year, that means pick number 12, Rob was at this year. You will have the first pick in the 6th round, so you will get that first chance at a keeper.
Right.
So if you are the 12th pick next year, even the 11th, you might want to grab 10 players aside. They're rookies that might blow up or guys you think might drop, because you want to draft them then and there because you can keep them as a keeper. So there is a benefit to drafting the last. What happened with Rob was at the 60th pick, he picked Miles Sanders. At the 61st pick, he picked Adam Thielen. Is it Thielen? Thielen. Adam Thielen. So if Miles Sanders went off this year, he's not eligible to keep him. But if you drafted Thielen first and then Sanders would have been kept. So Mark and I figured that out quick.
Yeah,
so
we weren't sure if Rob planned it that way or if he just knew which 2 players he picked and picked them in no specific order, not realizing that, hey, this one could be a keeper, which I think happened. So.
Yeah, it might have been a toss-up, but, who knows?
So what I did was I did not add kickers or defense in the year. I didn't think anybody wanted to keep kickers or defense. So this is just straight up players.
Pretty reasonable.
Some of these are just, whatever, I'm not doing it. But some are some eye-openers. So I went through here, just went in order here. Rob, your eligible keepers for next year, unless you drop them here in the last 2 weeks, would be Devontae Smith, Kareem Hunt, Tyler Lockett, and Raheem Mostert. So you actually have a couple there that you could keep. That's not a bad list.
Especially because Hunt will probably be on a new team next year.
He could be, and Devontae Smith probably always do good as long as Hurts is there, and Lockett and Mostert are there, so that's not bad. For myself, because my team went shit real quick, Breece Hall was I knew that I wanted to keep him, and I drafted him in the 6th round, so I put him on my IR, so that's really the only
Was he
guy.
the only option anyway?
Yeah, I literally went through, there's a way on the computer where you can see your team and who you drafted and who you traded and who you picked off of waivers. I only have 3 players in my starting lineup that were on my starting roster. Everybody else had way more than me. So I've done way more transactions, but yes, Breece Hall is the only one.
Solid.
Yeah. Now, next we go to Dano, who's literally the Pittsburgh Steelers here. Not only does Dano have Pickens and Pickett, he has Freiermuth, Amari Cooper and Cordell Patterson are all eligible for keepers for next year. But we all know it's probably going to come down to the Pickett.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now, Olajuwon not making any moves really throughout the year. Kyler Murray, Marquise Brown, Marquise Godwin. Chris Godwin, sorry.
The Bucks guy. Right?
And DJ Sharp. So he has some interesting options there as well. Lorenzo, it gets really interesting. Tom Brady, although he's probably not going to keep him, he might be retiring. But you have Dallas Goedert. You have the Miami Dolphins starting quarterback Tua in there.
Breakout.
And Gesicki. So that's, I would be happy to get Tua with my 15th or 16th pick. And be like, don't have to worry about that. So good job on keeping him, Lorenzo. Southside Menace. Sorry, I was at the dentist today, guys. Okay. Southside Menace, Brian, you have TJ Hawkinson, who just switched teams this year. DeAndre Hopkins, you love him. Alan Lazard and James Cook, who I know you mentioned Cook before. I know he hasn't done much this year, but they're all options for you.
Real quick, I forgot. Westy won that bet. Hopkins made it through.
Yes, I owe Westy $20. He was questionable week 11 too.
Was he? Oh shit! Oh, I forgot about it until after the game, and then I saw that he obviously played.
I saw Wesley. We talked about it. He was like, "Man, I seen he was questionable." He's like, "What the fuck?"
IHOP. Come hungry, leave happy.
Drew, you changed your team name quite a bit. So you have some good ones here. I know you're high on Chris Olave, but you also have Joe Burrow in there, and Josh Palmer, the wide receiver. So you have some, interesting choices there as well. My buddy Mark here, the treasurer, has Gabriel Davis, who's probably not going to plan on keeping. Ayuk, and I found an interesting one, Rachaad White, the running back for Tampa Bay. So that might be an interesting one.
Yeah, he took Fournette's job, basically, didn't he?
Yeah, pretty much. So that'll be interesting for Mark. The man of mystery right here, we have Christian Kirk, who's had a great year, and Jacoby Myers are both eligible.
Yeah, I talked to Drew right after a draft, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I got Olave at 6th round. I'm probably gonna save him if he does good." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that at all."
It's all good. It's so hard when you're drafting because you're so intense on just getting your right players, and then to think about keepers on the side too. It's like you're trying to remember bye weeks, keeper, it's too much.
So somebody was thinking about it.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Dion, well, you have Juju, and then Antonio Gibson and Derek Carr. I'm not sure what you're going to do there, Dion, but Juju might be a viable option. Yeah. Now, Nick, who didn't make many transactions, has quite a list here. I'm surprised he kept Chase Claypool the whole time. He's eligible. Hayden Hurst, the tight end. Michael Gallup, and Devin Singletary. So you have your wide range of wide receivers, running backs, and tight ends there.
He's a big Claypool truther, and that's coming from the Steelers fan here.
And then lastly, we have FX Spuka. I know he's high on Drake London, and he got Johan Dotson, but he also has Dak Prescott. So if Dak Prescott would blow it up and win the Super Bowl next year, he could be a keeper as well.
Oh, don't say that too loudly, Clayton, please.
I do not want that to happen. As an Eagles fan, I'm just saying.
Thank you so much for the notes. And,
no problem.
Certainly giving me a lot to chew on there.
You get a raise next year.
Yeah, I'm like everybody's getting Christmas bonuses.
I enjoy this league and doing that stuff. So I will be back later on before the playoffs, I guess, just to go over some odds and ends with the championship. I will let you know who I think is going to win it.
Hit the playoff power rankings and a projected winner, right?
Yep.
Cool.
Absolutely.
All right. Sweet. Well, thanks again, Clayton. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, not a problem.
Well, boys, as you know, it was just Thanksgiving last week. And the man of increasingly less mystery but increasingly more titles, Brian Howells here, had a great idea that he suggested yesterday. Something we could discuss is what are some things that we all regret about this fantasy season. And I know that no matter who you are or how successful your team may or may not be, there's got to be at least something. Mr. Howells, since this was your idea, why don't you kick us off and we'll go around?
All right. Well, my regret starts right in the beginning.
Of life or fantasy?
Well, let's not go that far. But I picked up someone called Aaron Rodgers.
Oh.
Probably a little earlier than I should because I have Jalen Hurts as my main quarterback, and it was questionable of how well he would do or if he would get hurt being a running quarterback. So I thought I'd pick up Aaron Rodgers, and I probably should have picked up a running back instead. And that would have helped me a whole lot.
Oh, hey! And this Regretsgiving is brought to you by Derek Berger and the Funhouse.
Hello, gentlemen.
Derek, how you doing? Wonderful. What do you regret about your fantasy season? Yeah, any of them?
All of it. I'm in last place in both leagues.
Oh my God! All right. So yeah, it's probably a longer list than what you'd be thankful for, I guess.
I wonder if he regrets this snow cone.
He's got ice coming out of his beard.
Back to it. So your travails with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, so I just ended up getting rid of him. He did not score more than 15 points in 12 weeks, so I just dropped him for Garoppolo. And Westy picked him up, and he got a little better, but not that great, so I think it was a good choice.
Clayton, what about you?
Well, as of yesterday, I regret never getting my gallbladder out. So now I'm a little concerned that I'm going to have that issue down the line here, being 45.
Why do we
years old.
have these vestigial organs anyway?
I do regret, Mark pointed out, giving myself an easy schedule this year. Easy! I'm overachieving, but I'm avoiding my combine punishment.
What's he up to, Mark?
As far as what?
As far as like if he had your schedule?
Oh, he would be 1-11.
1-11. All right.
And House would be 2-10.
But I'm not.
And we're playing each other this week. We're playing each other this week, so it's only going to get worse. But no,
all right.
in all seriousness, my only regret is I've always, I'm in 3 leagues this year, but in all my leagues, I always go running back, wide receiver first. And this year, we're drafting before Rob. I thought I knew where Rob was going, and I should have taken the plunge and drafted Josh Allen at 11. And then tail back with Diggs. I did that in my one league, and I'm the second seed in that league right now. But all said, I need to open up my options next year. This is a very competitive league. It's the only league where the waiver wires are bare trash after week 7. It's a really competitive league, and I have to up my game and think outside of my box.
Yeah, and yet still important. It has been easily the most fun and the most competitive
Absolutely,
league.
100%.
Mark, what you got?
Jesus, where do I start? Actually, really, it's you could say it's more of a regret when you're thinking about it and you're on the fence about something. It's easy to look back and be like, well, look, this person was available for me, and if I would have did, but you can't really say that. For me, it was between Derek Carr and Trey Lance, and I was gonna take Derek Carr, and I didn't, and Deion took him with the very next pick, and I was like, you know what? The only reason I did it was because I'm a Raider fan. I'm like, I don't want to really be so tied in. You know what I mean? So I'm like, you know what?
I like to double down, as he said.
I think Trey Lance I thought he was going to do good this season. I thought, so I thought, and I was really on the fence about it. I'm like, shit, should I take Derek Carr or should I take Trey Lance? Had I taken Derek Carr, it would have been a lot different for them first 3-4 weeks.
Yeah. Trey Lance did good for me.
It feels like
what a game.
Exactly.
It feels like 2019 ago that we were like, oh yeah, Trey Lance is going to be like breakout year, man.
And Kyle Pitts was another. I can't say he was a regret. He just, it's what I wanted. He just underperformed. I can't really say I regret it, but. I really had no one else. I wasn't looking at no other tight end at the time I picked him up. I wanted him as my tight end, and I got him.
Any other manager wants to comment below on their regrets, or any listener, just comment below.
Yeah, I got one, of course, and kind of in a similar vein to Howell Rodgers. I mean, holy fucking shit, Russell Wilson. You're just the most dog shit ass quarterback that I've
Broncos country
maybe ever seen.
Let's ride.
Like, I've never really liked Pete Carroll as a coach, but he's clearly doing something.
100% agree. Not a fan of Pete Carroll, but damn, is he a
I
good
don't know
coach.
how else to explain it. I mean, and that Nathaniel hack job over there in Denver is well, he'll be fired.
I'm not going to lie. I'm actually intrigued to see if the Seahawks make the playoffs and what they can do. I mean, they really have. Apparently, all 7 of their rookies drafted had an impact on the team. That's all I've read. But Pete Carroll's taken Geno Smith to comeback player of the year, most likely, and taking that team into a playoff team. It's unbelievable what they did this year.
Although and you know, good for Geno Smith and all that, but I am sorry that in all likelihood we're not going to have, for the first time ever as a possibility, a rookie winning comeback player of the year in Brian Robinson, coming back from gunshot wounds to put up pretty decent numbers.
Rob had this bet that if you scored more points than him, you get the belt for a week, but you have to give something up if you lose.
Right.
You're going to eat his gallbladder.
All right.
Make
And a nice Chianti. And some fava beans.
Love you, Rob.
Gentlemen, it has been, I think, a fantastic episode this week. Really great
Cheers,
to have
guys.
you guys
Absolutely.
all on. So good luck to you all, and have a great week. And